Just kind of turn my table here, yo, you guys. I'm dark as mud in here today. No man, y'all can't see my face, but it's okay. Shalom, shalom. Be starting up in a minute, everyone. So, everyone, welcome back to Intelligent Voices Israelites. I am your brother, your friend, Yazrael Yashamba Yah. Today we have an important study today that I would like to drop for you all to therefore distribute to however you might need to. Shalom, shalom to all our brothers and sisters who are IVI here with us, enjoying Yahweh's presence every day of our lives. We thank Him with the most up respect because the spirit of His awareness have therefore grafted us in. So today we got some good little storybook reading here, logic notes that we will be talking about. Do you remember to say thank you? Now, many brothers and sisters, they might eat something and then therefore just put it right in their mouth. Or they don't introduce their children to the moral conducts of the laws of the Bible. Why? Because they don't read. And therefore, most of them have families have come out of church and many other things. So we won't badger anyone today about that. But at the same time, is to make notice or aware how one used to be until the change have come. So do you remember to say thank you? So this is very important because this is one of our moral conduct of laws given to us by Father Yahuwah to allow us to know that every time we receive or do something in this world, which here it is, we're in the world but not of the world, it allows us to benefit not from the world but from our Father Almighty Yahuwah. So, did you eat a meal today? So, do you know who prepared it? So, this is for the younger people who therefore are still with their parents. And here it is, even for grown adults who might now be living on their own. And here it is, Yah have given you the structure of understanding that here it is, you have learned a skill from your parents to be able to cook or provide your meals. And here it is, all of that comes from a place. It comes from a place where here it is, it wasn't just you did it, but it was something that was given to you by someone who therefore instructed you. So when we eat, we always supposed to pray. We always supposed to give thanksgiving to what the things that we receive. So perhaps your mothers or your dads, here it is, may have bought you something, and here it is, it might not been what you wanted, but it was close to it, but it was the thought that counts. So one must realize, do you remember to say thank you? Because here it is, it was somebody's intentions to make you happy, to therefore bless you with a gift, to give you something that therefore you can benefit from. And here it is, or something that you might have wanted, excuse me, everybody, or something that you might have wanted. So now what we see, brothers and sisters, we see that y'all want us to remember to always know about giving thanksgiving. Is very important. This is some of the basic things that most church folks supposed to have taught all of their people, so-called congregation. But we have come to realize that most people who have went into a building have only came out of there even more confused about the Bible in its whole entirety. So today we're going to clear up a little bit of this confusion to allow people and brothers and sisters that therefore you would take the message to, therefore to recall, here it is, for them to remember to say thank you and how important it is in the Bible. So before we begin, let's do a prayer because here it is. We always like to start with a prayer. So we're going to go into prayer. Hope everyone got a good book, paper, because we're going to go into precepts and we're going to be doing logic, which therefore for the understanding of what we are talking about today. So and it will be coming out of the logic book of reading. Now, understand that when we look, we're going to first, hold on one second. I don't know if I want to read out this book or a digital book. Yeah, I'm going to read out of this book. Shalom. All right, so let's go into prayer, everybody. Almighty Father, my Father, Almighty Yahuwah, I come to you with my whole heart and my brothers and my sisters who are IVI upon this grace, upon you, Father, your throne, for you see all things and know the hearts of all men and women and children and animals. We thank you, Father, for uplifting us in your spirit through Yahweh's blood, as he has sprinkled us with grace and everlasting life to hold on to for the rest of our life, because he have given us the same glory that the Father have given unto him. So let this message reach those who it is meant to reach today, because here it is, our brothers and sisters who are here, part of the subscribers of IVI, sharing the workload of releasing materials, puzzle pieces unto the world to fit into place for a complete vision, Father. And may you therefore bless their hearts and their homes and their children and their wives and their husbands, their jobs, their money of prosperity that you bless them with. May you continue giving them thanks, giving for life, Father. Amen. So now, sometimes we forget to say thank you when others do kind things for us, right? Now, understand, when our father Yahuwah was on the earth, there was some leprosy. Okay, we're going to go look at this example because I want people to see how selfish many people are in the world. Because here it is, when it comes to parenting, there's no playbook. But here it is, one can always rely on the main scripture and the logic of and precepts of the Bible to structure everything around giving good thanksgiving, because here it is, it comes from a blessed place in your heart. So now, do we know what leprosy is? Now, we know leprosy had been mentioned when Moses and his sisters was complaining over him over the Ethiopian, because here it is, their traditions wasn't the same as Moses and Aaron. So they didn't want that marriage to happen. But we also see what happened to the sister that therefore complained, because here it is, her brother was dating Ethiopian. We see that Yah clearly showed her that she didn't understand that Thanksgiving comes in many flavors and various ways that he uses upon us, because here it is, every individual is different. So you cannot come at everyone the same way. So here it is, that is strategies, right? So now what happened to Miriam is therefore she became sick. Now this sickness brought upon a flesh eating disease where it took away the color of her skin. Now, knowing that, here it is, as we have did many archive videos, brothers and sisters, describing, I'm sorry for the darkness in my home, but like I always say, it's not about me, it's about the word that you hear from. So now understand that Miriam was very disappointed that Moses was really going to be with this not Egyptian, Ethiopian, excuse me. And they didn't like that. But they didn't understand that was a higher power that was commanding Moses, because here it was a thanksgiving that Yahuwah wanted to happen. So here it is, Miriam became leopard, and she lost her color, her dark brown skin, and became, here it is, pigmented. That means here it is, she had no melon. Okay, now y'all might remember the story. For 7 days, she was outside of the camp. Now, why I went there, why are we going to use that example, a leprous person, who is sick, okay, meaning the person's flesh falls off. And we also know if a leper saw or any Israelite saw a leopard person coming, we know that they was also told to warn that person to halt, to allow them to therefore go around them or therefore not pass them. Because here it is, it was considered a curse to be as light without brown skin. So here it is, that was a curse. But now we're going to realize that here it is how the Thanksgiving came back to Miriam later on. You might have read that. But here it is. She had a whole new understanding of thanksgiving and thankfulness of her returned color. Because here it is. It took her color completely away. As I just said, it made the skin of her flesh, here it is, as in, I would say symbolically, fall off. Because here it is, when she turned white, she knew that was a curse. So she was wondering, why did I get cursed? So now when we're going to use this example, we're going to see that here it is. This was done so that other people would not get close and maybe not get the sickness, right? And we know that here it is later down the line that Yeshua, when he was in the world walking among the Pharisees and Sanhedrins, we know that therefore he came across some men that had leprosy. Now we're going to look at that story, everyone. Why? Because we want to know why we need to remember to say thank you, because Yah says, I bless you in various ways, even when you're wrong and doing bad things, because here it is, you're still in your way. But here, see, he said, I still will bless you, because here it is, I want to point out to the moral conduct. So now sickness, and now do we remember to say thank you when we eat, when we receive something? And here it is, when someone does something for you special, or when you do something for somebody, do they give you a thank you from the top and bottom of their heart? This is what we're going to be talking about, everyone. So let's look at Luke chapter 17, verse 11 and 14. So I'm going to be reading out my black book today, not my phone. Excuse me. So everyone, let's turn over to Luke. That'll be in your New Testament. Now, when we're going to go to Luke chapter 11. No, chapter 17, should I? 11 through 14. I got so much material here. So now this example, why we're going to be looking at this example of why we need to remember to say thank you, because it is an important part of our life. Now in chapter 17, 11 through 14, I'm going to, as I read here, he says, as he continued his journey to Jerusalem, he traveled through Samaria and Galilee. As he was entering a village, watch this, 10 lepers met him. They stood, watch this, at a distance. As I just explained, that was a curse. He says, from him, and raised their voice, saying, Yeshua, have pity on us. And when he saw them, he said, go show yourselves. Watch this. Now, this is the Most High Son, who therefore was curing many people. But now watch out now. This is what he was under, because when he was on the earth, he was under the laws of the Torah. So now watch what he tells this man. He says, and when he saw them, he said, go show yourselves to the priest. Go show yourselves to the priest, not to me, but to the priest. Watch this. He says, as they were going, they were what? Cleansed. And they were going, they were cleansed. And the one of them, realizing he had been healed, returned glorifying or thanking Yahuwah in a loud voice. See this? Now, why didn't the other 9 people turn around and say, thank you? Because here it is. They kept it selfish, because here it is. Yeshua told them to go and see the priest. But here it is, only one of them had the faith of what Yeshua has said to him, which basically giving him the Torah to understand that you already have the cure with you because it's been put in place. What been put in place? Priests, guides, who therefore Yahuwah, the Father, have already risen up to teach and to reach and to heal the people of that land. So now here it is. Why do we need to remember, here it is, to give thanks? Or here it is, thanksgiving. Because Yahshua said you are supposed to. I want you to understand that this is why many people won't enter the kingdom, because here it is, like those 9, they didn't even return a thank you once their leprosy or their sickness was gone. Because here it is, Yeshua didn't do it. As they was going, as we read, they were cleansed, right? But then it took an instructor to tell one or all, but one understood what was going on. He gave thanks to Yeshua for actually giving him the advice. Because here it is, not everybody was reading or not everybody was listening, just like today. Many people don't read, many people don't listen. And here it is, many people don't know what's in the Bible, but here it is, they can so call something from the Bible because, like I say, they come out of a building with a church, so called. But today, brothers and sisters, we're seeing that here it is in Luke chapter 17, 11 through 14. What happened was that here it is, out of the 10, only one gave thanks to the Almighty Father. Now, understand, do you feel sorry for people who are sick? Like when our cousins, our mothers, our family members or friends get sick? Sometimes here it is, if you really truly love them and respect them, you want to therefore help them to the best of your ability. So now here it is. We see Yeshua says, go and show yourself to the priest. So now we understand because of the law of Yahuwah, that's why he told them this, right? This law said that Yahuwah priest was to look after the flesh of the leprosy. Now we know this is in Leviticus because here it is. These are statutes and ordinance of the law that of command to the Israelites. He says the priest would tell the leopard when all of his sickness have left him. Now, remember when I started, we talked about Miriam, Moses' sister, how she caught the sickness, right? Because here it is, a lot of people don't understand being thanks or having Thanksgiving is nothing to do with a turkey. That has been subliminally put in place for you to follow that crap, a turkey, okay, Thanksgiving. That was the pilgrims, right? Totally different story. So now here it is. We're talking about the Hebrew Bible. Here it is, where those pilgrims took that information from and flipped it around and now got everybody worshiping or Thanksgiving a turkey, an animal, instead of Yahuwah for the animal that had the sacrifice to put on your table. See that? So now a lot of people don't think about this. They always think that, oh, I'm just good. And here it is. I don't have to do none of this because here it is. It's about Jesus or God who therefore died for me. But you don't understand there's still stipulations, brothers and sisters, that you must follow. Like Yeshua says, I didn't come to abolish the law, but only to add love to it. Anyone who here loves and believes in me loves the law in me and now have the law in them, right? Thanksgiving, true Thanksgiving. And here it is. It's allowing one to say, do you remember to say thank you? So now, brothers and sisters, let's look at Leviticus chapter 13. Leviticus chapter 13, 16 through 17. So chapter 13, 16 and 17 verse, brothers and sisters. it clearly allows you to see we're talking about scaly infections, right? And this is why we're using these examples, because Yah says a lot of people don't understand, just like Miriam, Moses' sister. You can catch a sickness just by you not being thankful or aware to be giving thanks to Yahuwah, the Almighty Father, through the Son's name. So now realize, here in 16:17, it says, if, however, the raw flesh again turns white. See that? So now this is my point. For every Caucasian, for every Asian, every Korean, Japan, whoever, sister that's light skinned, they called it light skinned red bone. So here it is. This is for all who have no colored melon to take this moral law into serious attention. Why? Because here it is. If, however, the raw flesh again turns white, now this is telling you this was a curse, the person shall return to the what? Priest. Because Yah never intended for white skin. Okay? Because here it is. We see the outcome, right? But at the same time, we see now it was a few, now it turned into a whole multitude. So now here it is. A person, here it is, shall return to the priest, should, upon examination, find that the infection, watch this, has indeed turned white. He shall declare, watch this, this is what the priest would do. He should declare the afflicted person, watch this, clean. The individual is clean. Find that the infection has indeed turned white. He shall declare the affected person clean. The individual is clean. Not saying that here it is clean just because your skin is white. No, it is clean by your understanding of giving thanksgiving or thanks back to Yah for healing you of the sickness. Because here it is, if the sickness of white skin is not treated, then it becomes unclean. Okay, so let's don't get that confused. Okay, because here it is, we know we got some bad uncolored brothers and sisters, and we got some good uncolored brothers and sisters. So here it is, it's two groups. Now realize Yah saying he wants you to pay attention to the group that knows how to give thanks back unto him every time you receive something, eat something, do something, receive something, and give something, because it is returning happiness unto a person. And a person maybe be returning happiness unto you, because here it is, they did something for you. So now it brings on a thankfulness or a thanksgivingness of appreciation, meaning you intended to make that person happy. Okay, keep that in mind. So now let's look at verse 15 through 19, same chapter. Okay, no, I want to go to Luke. Go to Luke. And when we get to Luke, everybody, look at 17. That's right. And when we get here to 17, everybody, look at verse 15 through 19. And watch what it says here in the Bible. And one of them, watch this, realizing he had been healed, watch this, remember, returned, glorifying Yahuwah. Here it is, in a loud voice. So this is why I went back to show you that many brothers and sisters don't really truly give thanks to anything, because here it is, they're more takers than therefore givers. And if you're more of a taker, then here it is, you haven't learned how to be thankful, because here it is, many people turn into now users. You ever heard the saying, use your kindness for a fool? So Yah is making sure you understand the difference to understand that you have lost your way by not giving thanks to him for your knowledge, for your understanding. And here it is, knowing that here it is, he will punish you because here it is, you are not thankful for all the things he is doing for you. Now, when we look also here at, I'm starting at, what's that? Want to go back here and let's read all the way to 19. So verse 16. And he fell at his feet. Watch this. And Yeshua. And what did he do, everybody? He thanked him. See that? Even though the 9 never returned, but we see that Yeshua was still there, able to see the one that came back and gave thanks unto him, to the Father through him, right? And then we see he says he was a Samaritan. Watch this. Yeshua said in reply, 10 were cleansed, right? And were not. Where are the other 9? He says. Has none but this foreigner, that means Gentile, one outside of the law, returned to give thanks, not to me, but unto my Father, who therefore used me to instruct him of the law? Go to the priest, get washed, checked out. And he says, then he said to him, stand up and go. Your faith, watch this, everybody. Your faith have what? Saved you, just like Miriam, Moses' sister. Because when she had that time alone for 7 days, she had a time to think. To what? Realize, as we just seen that word. And here it is, to understand that she was doing something totally wrong against her brother, which she didn't understand, that Yah is giving thanksgiving unto him and also to this Ethiopian. Okay. So now when we see this takes us to 1 Thessalonians, everybody. 1 Thessalonians, and I want to go chapter 5 and verse 18. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 18. Because Yah says, do you remember to give thanks? Because every time I went to a restaurant, I mean, just from my example alone, just by, going out to have dinner with me and my wife, or just, with family, sometimes, most of the time, you look around and when the plates come, everybody just start digging in. And here it is. Now, we know that people can pray in silence, but here it is. Father says they are not doing that. They're consuming. And here it is. They're not giving thanks for the things that I'm allowing them to have. So what are they doing? They're not giving thanksgiving to me. They're giving it to a turkey, right? Because it is, they're making my thanks. Here it is, a joke, but it's not a joke because we just seen, right? So now, verse 18, 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, clearly allow us to see something. And here in 18, he says, in all circumstances, watch this, give thanks. He didn't say sometime. He didn't say when you want to. He didn't say that therefore when you are in trouble, when someone gets you out of it, just be thankful. No, he says be this way all the time because Yah says I'm constantly giving you something every day before you even see the physical attributes that I'm giving you. I'm giving you air to breathe. I'm giving you perfect health. I'm giving you, therefore, things that you need for you individually. So where is my thank you, right? So he says, clearly, in all circumstances, give thanks. For this is what? Well and pleasing, not to Yeshua, but to Yahuwah the Father. For you who's going through Yeshua to get the information. Because many people now recall him having problems with the Pharisees and Sanhedrins at the time of his arrival. Because here it is, these men didn't even constitute the people on how to properly give thanks. Okay. Now look at Psalms 106. Now, when we go to Psalms 106, everybody, watch what shows up here in verse 1. Going back to a logic note here. Now, we've seen that this man came back and gave glory to the Father through the Son. And he said that was the right thing to do because the power to heal him had come from Yahweh, the Father. The man also fell down at Yeshua's feet to show how much he respected what Yeshua gave him. Okay. Because, like I say, a lot of people don't read the Bible, a lot of people don't do research, they don't know. So now here it is. A better time have come for everybody to know. Because Yah says the earth is closing. So everybody got to get their ticket punched or therefore miss, here it is, the flight up out. So now realize this message today, do you remember to give thanks or to say thank you? This is important. Because now as we get to Psalms 106 verse 1, what do he say? First he says, hallelujah, my Father Yahuwah, give thanks to the Almighty One, who is good, whose mercy endures forever. See that? Whose mercy endures forever. So now here it is. Didn't Miriam, Moses' sister, get forgiveness? Didn't she get some mercy? This is the same thing that happened with people today that get sick. Therefore, that might, here it is, not understand that every time they receive some or eat some or buy something, that is coming from the Father that put it in your hand to receive it. Did only one turn back to give glory to the Most High Father? Now understand, this person was outside the law. As we seen, he was a Sumerian man from the country of Samaria. Now we see now closely that here it is, which of these men had returned was only one. And here it is, 10 came to get healed, but only one came to give thanks back to the Father through the Son. That's crazy, ain't it? Because if a person say they love you and they care about your laws, your statutes, your ordinance, why don't they try hard to find out how to follow them, how to become a better person in themselves through Yahweh? Because here it is, everything have to line up with the scripture, even your spirit. So now he says, so when someone does, this is the logic, something kind for us, what should we remember to do, everybody? We ought to express a thank you. People often forget to say thank you, right? But it's good to say thank you when we do. Yahuwah, our Father, and the Son are what? Very well pleased. Because these are actions coming from your heart, brothers and sisters. Sometimes people need a little help. Sometimes a person might, really, don't have the assets to gain the things yet. But here it is. It is not because it is a curse on them. It's just because Yah is using another person to thank them too. Okay. Because their patience of waiting for the things that therefore showed up to give thank you to. Okay. But before the things show up, you giving thanks to Yah every morning, every day of your life. Why? Because he's giving you that life. He's giving you an opportunity to find out who he is, to realize that how lost you have been before and after. But now here it is, saved by Yeshua. Why? Because the sprinkling of the blood of him, his spirit, now covering your tainted blood. Now your conscience come back and you feel good and you're thankful. So this is a feeling that comes to people, right? Which makes you happy. Now, Yah says, I like making everyone happy. I like making my children happy. I like providing for them. I like them to always be a good representative of me at all times, not just sometime. But here it is. This is a work in progress with a lot of our brothers and sisters, right? So now he says clearly, the Samaritan man thanked Yeshua for making him well. And this made Yeshua happy, Yahweh, right? It may be their job to do these things, right? This is because here it is. Yah set it in motion of how we are. Here it is to remember. Here it is to give thanks unto Yahuwah, because here it is, every day of our lives matter. And now, as we see this at 106:1, look at 107:1 of Psalms. He says clearly, give thanks to the Almighty One. Now, in your book, you might see the word Lord, Lord. He says, for he is what? Good. His mercy endures forever. Give thanks. So now here it is. Mercy means that every time you mess up in life, Yah is easily forgiving you already before you ask. Because here it is. A lot of people do something and they don't even ask for forgiveness because they don't believe that they would get it. So therefore, they don't believe that they can be thankful for forgiveness. Okay. And this is where the confusion comes with many people out in the world today. Because here it is, they haven't really understood many things of the precepts of the Bible or how important it is for the structure of your life. Now realize, Yeshua said in 107, as we look in Psalms of David's writings and some of Solomon's, we're seeing in verse 107, give thanks. So now look at 118 of Psalms. And when we get to 118, I want everybody to look at these two verses with me, which is verse 1 and verse 29. So now here it is in 118 of Psalms. He says, give thanks to the Almighty, for he is good. See how I got amplified? For he is good. Before in 106, let's go back there. Give thanks to the Almighty, who is good. See that? Now, when you go back to Psalms 118, you see the elevation of advancement of understanding now, because here it is, discernment is seeking in, that every time you receive something, eat something, buy something, you are to give thanks to the Father, because if it wasn't for the Father, you wouldn't have anything, okay? Period. Because we can look through the Bible and find many people, many nations got things taken away permanently. Just look at Sodom and Gomorrah. So now here it is. We see clearly that this basic moral conduct, statute, and ordinance that comes down from heaven into us, which is a decree, is asking us, do you remember to say thank you? Period. So now in Psalms 118, we see that he is good. His mercy endures forever. Now, in order to be like Father and the Son, one must be grafted into the Son and to have the Father. No one comes through the Father unless they come through the Son. So now one must be thankful for that, right? But do you see people being thankful today for that? Knowing that that one thing can get you access to the power that is in the heavens, sent into you by a spirit divine of Yahweh sprinkling. Because here it is. He's clearly saying that I'm always giving thanksgiving unto my children, not like the world. Now look at verse 29. He says, give thanks to the Almighty One, for he is good. His mercy endures forever. He wants you to remember that, to know that, to say that is a fact, to trust it, be trustworthy of, because here it is. He wants everybody to know that he loves so big that therefore he has mercy also aboard this Thanksgiving for those hearts that are opening up wide, therefore that can feel the gratitude to know that here it is. Yah says, I love you. Even when you're doing things messed up, but here it is. I know you just don't know any better, but here it is. I am making prophecy known now better unto the children of the offsprings of the Israelites, because I want you to be in the kingdom, or here it is, be a representative of me before the kingdom. And here it is, people can realize how to be thankful. See? Now, look at First Chronicles, everybody. And let's see. Uh, uh, uh. Mm, mm. Now, when we look here at First Chronicles chapter 16, we clearly see here in verse 34, everybody, that Yah says, for example, that here it is, he need us to really focus in this area because many people are Thanksgiving for the turkey. Every time they see that word, they think of a turkey when they see it in their Bible. I know it. And here it is. Yah says this have been seeping into the system of Israelites for centuries. So here it is. We must now restructure, and here it is, bring back the remembrance of being thankful just for breathing, just for waking up in the morning, just for basically having a job if you're working. Okay. And therefore having family or true friends. And here it is, that is serving Yahuwah through the Son of Yahweh. Because he says, I am grafting everyone back in through my thanksgiving, through my mercy. Okay. Mercy means, here it is, compassion, even though when you wasn't right. But now that you have heard the truth, Yah is relying on you to now make changes in life to make sure you don't forget to be thankful and how to look at it when you are thankful, right? So now in verse 34 of chapter 16, what do we see here, brothers and sisters? He says, give thanks to the Almighty One. Like I say, you might see that word Lord, but it means Almighty One. He says, who is good, whose love endures forever. Then I just say compassion, mercy. He's bringing the board with him to therefore download into you. Because now here it is. He says, endures forever, whose love endures forever. And he says, here it is. Now you will realize how and why you must be thankful for the things that you are having in your life right now, even the wisdom that I am pouring down into your heart and to your spirit right now. He says, I want you to have full discerning and understand that this is important, and for you to teach this not only to yourself, but to your children. Because most children run around and they just hurry up, you buy something, they just throw it in their mouth. And their mind is not in silency, praying to Yahuwah, being thankful for the one who is giving, for them to receive, because here it is. It may be their job to do these things. Why? Because Yeshua is setting us in place, taking record of everyone to make sure when your judgment, or if you have to come to judgment, then therefore, here it is, you will pass and not fail. Because here it is, you have been downloaded with the basics of information that you didn't get in church buildings called congregations. Okay. So now this is allowing you to see clearly. You can't get no more brighter, but here it is, it will get to its brightest. Because in First Thessalonians chapter 5:18, let's go. First Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 18, everybody. Now, when we look here in verse 18, what do we see? And he says, in all circumstances again, right? Give thanks. Now look at Psalms 136. Psalms 136, verse 3, I want to be at. Now, when we see here in Psalms 136, chapter 3, everybody, we see praise the Almighty. Watch this. The Almighty, for the mercy endures forever. So, or the thanksgiving endures forever with the mercy. Okay. Because here it is structuring one into change, one to be amplified in the growing of being thankful righteously from the heart. Many people, like we know, are not thankful, like we don't use the examples. Many people are not thankful when they eat food or when they can buy, when they buy it or whenever they receive it or however, wherever they go out to eat. They quickly put it in their mouth. And they don't understand that some of this food might be already a defilement, like most food is that our brothers and sisters are eating out there. Why? Because they don't know the Bible that Yah told you what to eat and what not to eat, right? So here it is. Most of them are not thankful because they're reckless and not understanding. So now look clearly at Psalms 100, and we're going to look at verse 5 in this one. And clearly, what we see, brothers and sisters, he says, give thanks to him. Now, Father Yeshua is pointing out that our thanks is going through him to the Father. He says, give thanks to him, bless his name, right? Good indeed is the Almighty One. Good indeed is the Almighty One. So now what we see, good indeed is the Almighty One, right? His mercy endures forever, right? His faithfulness lasts, watch this, through every generation. See that? His faithfulness. So now one must realize in order to be truly thankful for life given unto you from the Father, one must bless his name. Many brothers and sisters are out here with so many names, you can't keep up with these gods that they got, right? Because Yah says, I am above all of the created gods. I'm not a God. I'm the Almighty of Almighty, the Father of all fathers, the King of all kings. And there's no other beside me. I share my power with no one else. So now here it is. How could those people be thankful through someone else? Because here it is. If the intentions is not understood, mean discerning, understanding the Bible, how could you be faithfully serving it? And serving the one who made these decrees and statutes and orders and commandments? Because it damn sure wasn't some other man named Jesus, Lord God, Moloch, okay, Shamush, okay, Shiva, Bel, okay? No, it was Yahuwah, who therefore structured everyone to understand how to be thankful, not only be thankful, but to thank and bless him, his name, for all that you have and you do. Just being able to lift your hand up, give thanks. Just being able to stand up, give thanks. Just being able to drive a car, give thanks. Being able to share love with family members, give thanks. Friends, give thanks. And so on and so on, right? Because now we're seeing clearly, brothers and sisters, this is, you can't make this up. So now as we see in 100 of Psalms, verse 5, his mercy endures forever. His faithfulness lasts through every generation, right? And this is allowing us to see that why the Samaritan, one of those turned around, came back to give glory, while the 9 missed the whole picture. All they knew, we clean, we got a skin back, we ain't sick no more, but no thanks. So people are living like that right now today in this generation, mind you, because here it is. Yah says we are down to the last generation. So most people that you might see or walk past today, you won't see ever again until the judgment. And here it is. We will be judging them from afar, because here it is. They cannot come inside of the kingdom because there are defilement. So everything would be judged outside of the kingdom. Oh, yes. Because Yah says, here it is, these people are so selfish, so wickedly deceived, where here it is, their judgment is going to bring every memory up of them of the lack of being thankful to me first. That's the main judgment. Because here it is, I am the one providing everything to you when I want to provide it to you. Because here it is, those who truly love me, they know to stay faithful to me. And here it is, they will receive at its proper time. And now we see that clearly these examples, and here it is, it takes us right to the moral conduct of James. Because when we get to James, watch this, brothers and sisters. When we look at James chapter 1, verse 17, we clearly see all good, here it is, all good giving and every perfect gift is from above. Watch this. It ain't coming up from the ground, it's coming down to the ground, right? From heaven. Coming down from the Father, Yahuwah, with whom there is no, here it is, alteration or shadow caused by change. See this? He shares it with no one. He's the only one that therefore one should be thankful or giving thanksgiving to. Because here it is, he's the one that provides for you. He is the one that makes sure he supplies you when he needs to supply you. And everyone needs to be thankful because it might come through anybody. Okay? So now here it is allowing you to know when these things happen or when you are thankful to give other than just receiving, you now, here it is, understand the feeling of happiness. Because here it is, this is why Yeshua healed when he first came. And here it is, he wanted to see people understanding the Father love and compassion, and that here it is, he wants you to understand he wants to make you happy. And how do he does that? By fixing the problems that are in your life. But you got to stand up and be accounted for it, because here it is, open up every ear and hear what the Spirit is saying. Why? Because he's saying discernment time. This is the last of generations. Brothers and sisters must realize that there is so much punishment of judgment on them. They're thinking they're well when they're sick. And here it is, those of us who are well know that they are sick. But here it is, they don't want to get no help. So here it is, we're not to force the emergency, but to only blow the trumpet to allow them to know the warning. Death is around the corner. Because here it is, we know without the law or being thankful to have the law, it brings on death. So now, 2 Corinthians. People are dying fast these days. Grandma, auntie, cousin. I know many brothers and sisters of y'all done lost many people as well. And here it is. Some of them you are thankful for, and some of them you are unthankful for. Some of them are good aunties and good cousins and so on, while others are bad cousins and you didn't get along with. But here it is. You are thankful to know them and thankful that Yah created them to show you the example. Because each and every one of us living and breathing today on earth set off a certain aroma of example of what to do or what not to do. Because here it is. Yah says, I want you to follow the real decrees of moral laws and conducts, just as I did when I came and I had a problem with the Pharisees. Because here it is. They didn't want me to bring the truth. Why? Because they was hustling the people. They wasn't teaching the people the Torah. They wasn't showing them the laws, the statutes of moral conduct, and how to truly be faithful and thankful for what Moses had brought to the table through the Father. So now 2 Corinthians chapter 2, we're going to 2 Corinthians chapter 12. Okay. Got my note there. So now here it is in verse 9. What do we see? To another faith, watch this, by the same Spirit. See that? To another faith, watch this, by the same Spirit. To another, watch this, gifts of healing by the one Spirit. See this? Wow. To another faith, watch this, knowledge according to the same Spirit, right? To another faith by the same Spirit. To another gifts of healing by the one Spirit. See, we are all set in motion to do things here for our Father, brothers and sisters. And we must be thankful for our positions, sisters, as well. Because now we are all grafted into this understanding, which should have been understood centuries ago through our ancestors. But we know failure came, and then we needed Yeshua later on down the road to show the example of what the statutes, ordinances, and decrees is of keeping Father's law of commandments well. And here it is, making it pleasing for him to bless you with thanksgiving. Why? Because you're doing everything acceptable, brothers, sisters. And here it is, when you're doing everything acceptable, Yah says that brings on a faithfulness beyond just healing. See this? And this is why we're looking at this verse here in verse 9. Because he is clearly saying, brothers and sisters, to another, that means not all of us, faith by the same Spirit. Because here it is, faith by the same Spirit. This is what we're looking for in brothers and sisters. Faith of the same Spirit of thanksgiving. Because here it is, we want to see Yeshua. Because Yeshua want to see himself as well in you. So now one must graft that in. Go to Romans chapter 8. Now, when we look here, brothers and sisters, at Romans chapter 8, look at verse 28, okay? Because it's an enhancement now. Because here it is with the logic. He says, but you may forget to say thanks. Here's a logic. Your school teacher may work hard to help you learn. This is her work. But she will be pleased, watch this, if you thank her for helping you to learn. See that? And then here it is. It brings on a feeling of emotion when somebody does something internal, right? So he said, sometimes people just do a little things for you. Watch. Does anyone ever hold a door open for you? Or does anyone ever pass food to you at dinner table? Is it a good to say thank you for even the little things? If we remember to say thank you to people on earth, then we are more likely to remember to say thank you to our Father who is in heaven. Now we know, as we go to Romans, chapter 8, verse 28, as I just read that logic note, clearly says, for decisively and quickly, here it is, watch this, hold on, make sure I'm in there, in the right one. No, I'm not. Chapter 8 of Romans, verse 28. He says, we know that all things work for good for those who love Yahweh, who are called according to his what? Purpose. See, everybody got a purpose. Everyone is not going to do the same thing in the same way. So here it is. One must be thankful because here it is. One brings on puzzle pieces, and every one of us put them into place to give envision. When you envision something, that means you already have an idea of what it's going to look like at the end of completion, which makes you happy. So now, he says, who are called according to the purpose. Now, look at Hebrews chapter 13 with me. My bad. So now here in verse 15 of Hebrews, look at verse 15. Clearly, we see some attributes here, right? He says, through him, nobody else, only Yahweh HaMashiach. He says clearly, through him, then let us continually offer. See that? Every time you get something, like even purchase something, anything, or help somebody, or old lady, old man, anybody, or animal, or anybody, this is basically you showing some emotion of Yahshua. Because he says clearly, watch this. He says, through him, let us continuously offer Yahuwah a sacrifice of praise. That means being thankful, knowing that he has blessed you just to breathe, blessed you to not catch a virus or a sickness that kills you, blessed you to not be harmed, blessed you to not be in need, bless you to always know that he loves you. And it's forever. And it's never and never will go away, right? Because of mercy. But one can break one's heart if they do not be thankful for all of the things one might be trying to do for one's life. And we see that many illustrations in many people's lives where you might help them and they don't even be thankful, because when the turn comes for you, they might be put in the position to help you, but do they? Some might just look you over and go to the one that, here it is, they know that will actually help them back. But what good is the profit if only you're expecting something back? Okay. Where's the happiness in that? Okay. There ain't none. Because when you're expecting something back, that ain't genuine. That ain't true thankfulness. Yah says, here it is, that is a decree of a curse. And that means confusion is in the hearts. That means that can bring on multiple things that don't have mercy, right? So now Yah says, go through him, because he wants you to know that Yahweh is the door that everyone will and must go through for the example. That is the fruit of lips that confess his name, it says in Hebrews chapter 13, verse 15. So now, when brothers and sisters out there telling brothers and sisters, you need to get into the Bible, or you need to find a group that therefore can help walk you into the understanding of teaching and learning about the Almighty Father and his Son, and to know that the presence of the Son told everyone, I will return after I go to my Father, and I will prepare a place for all of you. But you must let me go away so I can come back. So now, this is where many people, brothers and sisters, have went through treacherous torture because of different deities and different ideologies. And here it is, they have become selfish in their own religion in a way, some knowing and some unknowing that they're doing these things. But Yah says, I want to bring a character back to the person to allow them to know that my mercy is forever and my faithfulness is forever. All they need to do is hear what the Spirit is saying and do these things to please me, to know that therefore they are satisfying not only me, but my Son, who therefore have structured the whole decree of what Israelites are to follow, unlike their ancestors. So today we have a better understanding of why we give thanks when we have dinner with our family or friends or co-workers and so on and so on. But here it is, many people, when you look at them at any table or any place, you never see them pray. Some say they prayed already in their head, but we know the decree of the Father says, I know all things, and you will be held liable at judgment for that lie that you told. I would bring it back to your memory when you come before the kingdom of my throne. So keep that in mind. So you want to come out of all of that tradition, of the world, because Yah says, here it is, you cannot get full understanding of discernment that way, of being thankful or remembering to thank me for everything that you are doing. I gave it to you. I allowed it for you. So why wouldn't I get thanks? So he says clearly, Philippians. Let's go to chapter 4. Philippians chapter 4, brothers and sisters, and we're going to pay attention to the verse 6 through 7. Because here it is. He says, do you remember to say thank you? You don't hear that no more. It's very faint that you might hear somebody thank. I remember back in the day when people actually, here it is, needed a car jump. And, it might be a female, or, it might be a male. And here it is. It's around their little holidays, or here it is, or a sale, and their car won't start. Battery dead. So what happens? You see people in the lot asking people for a jump. Then eventually, after 5 or 4 people, here it is, you'll realize one person is sent. Why? Because of the mercy of my Father, your Father, seeing and watching and recording all these people just walking past, driving past. This can be on the highway or anywhere. I done seen it. And here it is, Father's recording all of this. And here it is, one person is sent. And when that person comes to that person, the joy and happiness of the character of the face of the person getting the receiving of the help is so overjoyed because they were stranded. So here it is. Yah says, because of my mercy, as we have seen in the scriptures of the precepts, brothers and sisters, this is allowing you to know this moral conduct is just something been missed for centuries. But now it's back to allow us all to understand why Father is bringing this topic up today. Because he says now, as we get to Philippians chapter 4, 6 through 7, he says, have no anxiety, watch this, at all. Meaning, do not be jumpy or therefore quick to miss or overlook something as simple as thank you, right? He says, but in everything, that means in all of your thinking and all of your heart, by prayer, this is how this is basically seeping in today, brothers and sisters, when you actually bring this topic up among your Israelite brothers and sisters in your area, he says, by prayer, and here we go, by petition, with thanksgiving, not for a turkey, but for thanksgiving, because now you know of the mercy and you know of the faithfulness of Yahweh throughout the generations, as we read. Make your request known. He said, don't be quiet when you receive something. If I pass a brother or sister of water and it's hot, and here it is, I know they ain't got no water. Here you go, brother. I got you, sister. Hydrate. That's bringing happiness to that person, because here it is, they was in distress. Yah says, I don't want you in distress. I have mercy for you. So if I have mercy for you, why do you have distress? Why is your brothers and your sisters not helping? Why are they neglecting the statutes and the ordinances and the creeds of my law through my son, Yahweh? Why? So now when we look at this, he says, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, make your request known, not hidden, to who? Yahuwah, the Father. And he says, then the peace of Yahuwah, or the pleasing of Yahuwah, that surpasses all understanding, because now he have made you wise through wisdom of his, by knowledge you receive, and understanding that you now have as a foundation to stand on. Because he says, will guard your hearts. See, all understanding will guard your hearts and minds in Yahweh Yeshua. Now Yahweh Yeshua pops up and receive thanks. Because now here it is. He had decreed it for you to not thank me first, but to thank my Father first. It's that simple. But here it is, from a heart and from a mind aspect, and from a studying and also deliverance aspect. Because here it is, if you're truly delivered, then you know that mercy have been satisfied and brought happiness and peace upon you and your family. So now realize, as we've seen this in Philippians, this has have brought us, brothers and sisters, to the a close. But before I close, I want to give one more or two more precepts, because it is, I want everybody to basically go to Psalms 91, and we got two precepts before we close. And 91. Father just brought that to me. So now when we look at 91, look at verse 1 of Psalms. He says, you who dwell in the shelter. Watch this. Then I say every one of us is being protected because Yahuwah's mercy. He says, in the shelter of the Most High. So this is why I asked the question, how many brothers and sisters do you say they give thanks or being thankful to the Most High Yahuwah for everything they have, even themselves, okay, for being born, okay, and to learn, here it is, by going through life, realizing the ups and the downs is not really down, but here it is, it's only making you stand up stronger, mightier than ever. Why? Because we just seen it. You who dwell, see that? You must dwell, brothers and sisters. You must not stand for a little while and stand out of it. You must stand through the remainder, because he says it's forever. For you who dwell in the shelters of the Most High, who abide in the brightness of the Almighty. You see this? He's clearly telling us you must convert to this understanding to know why the simple word thank you is so big and powerful for you, because it gives gratitude back unto the Father through the Son. Now, let's look also, brothers and sisters, at Psalms 90, what's that, 92? Let's go to 92, and we're going to look at verse 1. And this will be the last precept. And he says clearly in Psalms 92, verse 1, he says, it is good. Watch this. It is good to give thanks. A lot of people don't like to do that because they think, oh, somebody gonna take them for granted for being too kind with their heart. But no, Yah says, I want you to be kind with your heart in receiving and also giving with your heart. Because he says, it is good. One second. My life. He said, it is good. One second, why? He said, it is good to give thanks to the Almighty, to sing praise to your what? Your name. So now here it is. It brings in a affiliation or relationship, because now here it is. Not only have you left all these other deities and gods alone, you now have come into Yahweh, as the Moabite stone have had it on there from discovery. You know that here it is. This is the Savior, the Son, to sing praise to your name, Most High, to proclaim your love every day. Every day. That means here it is. You are looking at thankfulness every day, not only to thank other people, but also to receive thankfulness from the Father through the Son. Because here it is. He's going to allow you to elevate, create, and here it is. Make sure you are doing all of the will of his covenant, which is making him happy and pleasing unto his Son. So, brothers and sisters, that wraps us up here at IVI. I am your friend, your brother, Yasrael Yashambayah. It's been a pleasure to be here with you, with the Father in the Spirit, as we do each and every time we meet up here. Until next time, I sit out my shalom. We are Never out of word, but we're out of time.